Welcome back to What the Flag. I'm so excited because I've not seen these two in way too long. And actually, yes, I want to talk to you a little bit about your injury recovery. I know this has been something that you've been working on a lot.
Look, my knee started going as soon as you said it. So obviously I got injured in August playing against Finland, and I've never been injured before, so it was the first time that I'd ever experienced it. And one thing I will say about being injured that I don't think anyone ever prepares you for is the fact straight away you go for, that's it, I can't walk again. I'm not going to be able to do this. I'm going to have to quit my job. Like you just go into absolute panic mode. But you know, great medical staff, and back doing, you know, what I love most, and back playing, hopefully, fingers crossed, in April. So
well, you said playing. I think there's a little bit of a big signing that's going on here. Yeah. Talk to the people.
So, I was, prior to the injury, I was talking to a team abroad because I went to play in Finland a few years ago and I just loved it. And I thought, why not go a bit further afield? So I am signing some lovely contracts, but I will be playing with the DC Divas
Let's
this year.
go.
Editor, add in the clapping. Oh my gosh, that's huge. And they're part of the WNFC, which is awesome with our girl OJ. I'm one of the ambassadors for the WNFC. So those are my people. So you're gonna have the best time out there. I love.
Where did you play in Finland?
Helsinki Wolverines.
Oh, nice.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
Well, that's all right. Check out episode 3 and you'll know more. Or 5, whatever that is.
Interesting.
Interesting. And how about you, Mr. Ken? I mean, there's a pretty exciting birthday bash going on now. We all know that you've had the big 4-0 already.
Everyone loves saying the number out loud.
Everyone needs to know. You gotta own it.
She said 4-0.
Same. Yeah, well, interesting. No. We've got birthday bash coming up, which is going to be super cool. I want to go. It's a. People keep asking, like, what is it, a tournament? How many teams? What? It's just, what I would really like is an old school, did you guys used to do like family fun days? When you were like, where you just get everyone around, it's like rounders, whatever, fun games you can play. But it's going to be all around flag, so there's going to be 4 teams playing some games, but we're trying to get the youth involved. There's going to be activities, we're going to have the shop there. It should be a good day up in Market Road, North London.
Nice.
North. And the first time that you and I played together in ages and
it's going to be, I don't know, I'm looking forward to that.
It'll be fine.
It'll be good, yeah. And it's co-ed, it's everyone. Everyone's welcome down. Just the more we can have down there, the better.
And youth, is that right? What's going on with that?
Youth as well. So ideally we're trying to put together 2 teams of youth players just to, again, it's not super intense, but it's a kind of showcase for the game, for flag football. Should be fun. We've got some limited edition Duke's flags coming out there as well.
Shout out Shrooms.
Yeah.
Love him.
Cough. It should be fun. Fingers crossed. Even if it does rain, we've got a 3G pitch, so it should be, the day's going to go ahead. It should be
British,
fun.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Standard.
Rain's never stopped it before, so
no. Exactly. I mean, and it was like I just got back from New Orleans and Pro Bowl and Orlando and all of that, and
I don't think people understand. So what is, because you've been away for a month, okay?
People.
How does it like? I know that there's a lot that you've done and but can you just tell us some of the activities, some of the experiences that were out there?
Yeah, I mean, I went out a bit early because I wasn't supposed to go out initially as early as I did, but really cool. Got to do the NFC Championship game in Philadelphia, which was super dope. I was like, we were filming in the morning with Sky, and then Gronk and the whole news crew were running up the steps at the same time. And he did a little Gronk spike at the end. So that was really cool. And then, of course, the game itself, like, it's always so interesting to see the NFL players. Like, I know Jaden Daniels has talked about playing flag in the past, but even watching his warm-ups, like, he still has that movement to him. And it was cool to reunite with some of the people like LaShawn McCoy. I haven't seen him since I was in Buffalo. Shady, I hadn't seen him since I was Buffalo. So just having like nice catch-ups, really. You've
coached a lot of like kind of really
cool
big players.
people.
Yeah.
Shady
the
McCoy.
name drops.
I know.
It's just happened to see this player and this player.
It was dope.
NFC Championship is our part. It's the semi-finals before the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Okay, so at that point, did you know who was going to be in the Super Bowl? Was there any?
I mean, you could see that. I mean, it was a very one-sided game in terms of the Eagles versus the Commanders. So, like, you could definitely see, who the winner was going to be. But
I'm not being back. The other side of the draw was
Bills Chiefs,
yes,
which was heartbreaking.
I know. That's what I'm looking for.
It's fine. I feel fine about it. We went and watched the game. Me and the crew went and watched the game in a bar, like after and it was just like, oh, I can't breathe. 3 minutes left. You're driving down. It's going to be perfect. And it was not perfect, but that's fine. We're moving on past that. So everyone went from there, went to Orlando and Pro Bowl. So we have like our international side out there where we had 13 international teams, which was super cool because, they put on, like, Japan made it to the finals with Canada, and they got to play on the Pro Bowl field. Russell Wilson was coaching up, like, the girls' high school, which is 7-on-7, and his son was doing, like, moving the chains. So it was really, it's like, you talk about family fun day. It's like the same vibes completely. And then from Orlando, I went out to Super Bowl. And then that was just kind of nuts in its own right.
Just help us out geographically. So we started in
Philadelphia.
It's East Coast.
Freezing.
Cold. How cold?
Like it's the wind. So there were days where it was like -7 Celsius, and then go down to Orlando where it was probably like 20 something.
Seaside.
And then you go to and New Orleans was just like hot and humid, really. Okay. But it's fine. It was all good. I can't complain. And New Orleans is just such a great city. Have you been before?
No, it's been on the list because of like how amazing all of the sort of photos and videos that come out of there sort of around Mardi Gras, but no, haven't been.
Yeah, I got to ride on a parade. I got to be like on a float throwing beads and throwing footballs. It was so cool. I actually saw somebody who I played men's tackle with. I threw him beads. I was like, what are the chances that you play for Stavanger Surge? I was like, Jordan, what are you doing here? It was so random. But yeah, so that was amazing. Went to like a glow-in-the-dark flag tournament. They had a celebrity flag game. I mean,
who was in the celebrity flag game?
Oh, you had like Angel Reese, Jordan Childs. I mean, I know the actual ones are like Team Speed. Deanna Flores is playing all those guys. You had Lotto, like you had Tiana Taylor, like just crazy, amazing people. I know. I only
saw Michael Vick.
Michael Vick, obviously.
The reason I got involved in football, so I'm just like, yeah. Oh, yeah, Cam Newton was there, of course.
Cam Newton was there. So lots of really cool people. And then went from there to our International Player Pathway program after Super Bowl in Florida. Came back to UK for 24 hours to teach the king how to throw a football.
His
Majesty.
Everyone got set up.
Yeah. His Majesty.
And are we allowed to ask how his throwing skills were?
You know what? Because I had taught Prince William earlier in the year, who also had a strong arm. King Charles had like a bullet, but I love that he was just like hand in the pocket and just threw it like that. It was so random.
Nice, the formality stays.
It was, exactly. And so, that was really it. And then now I'm back.
So,
what happened?
Because I think if we're looking at kind of the focus, kind of what we want to discuss today is in terms of preparation. So you've just listed about 18 different things that you do. And I think for those listening, watching, whatever, it's for me personally, I always enjoy the chance to like live vicariously through you a bit in terms of some of the things you want to do, some of the things you do. But I think something that people might not know about is how much preparation goes into. So if we kind of start with, first of all, let's take a game day, a regular NFL game day here for you in the UK. What does that look for you in terms of prep and, making sure you're ready for your Sunday evening shows on Sky?
I mean, it's kind of a week-long preparation because we don't normally find out the teams we're going to cover until the Tuesday. So like the combination of like NFL and Sky work together to choose the games that I think are going to be the best for the week. So we find out those on Tuesday. Wednesday, we normally have our production meeting where we kind of go over what the show looks like. And then ultimately you're just building that up. So, I mean, most of the week is all preparation. It's always, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this word, but I was always taught, one of my coaches, Rob Boris, who I was with in Buffalo, he always had the 7 Ps. So prior, proper, planning, prevents. Can I say that word?
Go on.
piss poor performance.
Oh yeah,
Am I able to say that?
I don't know what I was expecting.
I was like, the 7 Ps.
Yeah.
So I live by the 7 Ps.
It's a thing, so we can say it because
Okay,
it's not just
fine.
you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So those, I mean, that's essentially over prepare. And then with me, my confidence comes from preparation. So the more I've done during the week, when it gets to like game day, I feel easy and light about it. I always want to be on top of it, but at least I know, hey, if anything comes up, I can look back in my notes, and my iPad is my key there. And then on actual game day itself, we film like by Osterley in London. So game day itself, I usually get to the office around 12. I always go to the gym first. It just helps me set up. I was like that even when I was coaching. Always go to the gym in the morning, and then you
make us feel bad about ourselves.
hair and makeup by
Yeah.
3, rehearsals by 4, live at 5, finish at like 12:30, 1 essentially, whenever the game ends.
So the Sunday would be like a 13-hour, 14-hour day.
Yeah,
for you.
and then when I get home, depending on where I go after that, I watch the 3rd game, and I always make it till at least halfway, if not the entire game. But I've got so much like adrenaline and energy
It's
going.
called like revenge procrastination. Or,
I like that.
When your day's been stolen from you. And you're
Yeah,
trying to
so
claim
you
it.
have to spend a little bit of time like giving back to yourself before you actually switch off. Yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, and then the cycle starts again. So yeah, it's pretty cool. You were telling me earlier you saw this like AJ Brown video.
Yeah, so I was just scrolling, as you do, but it came up that AJ Brown did an interview when they asked him what he does to prep for a game, and he said he watches, I think it said Julio Jones's hits, and
Julio.
Oh, sorry.
Julio.
Watches Julio Jones's hits, and he sits in a dark room and listens to Adele.
I love that
And
so much.
that's what he does to sort of psych himself up. And the first thing I thought was great ritual, but what Adele song are you listening to that's really making you like, yeah, I'm gonna hit? Or like, I was thinking, could it be Hello? Or could it be, like Rolling in the Deep? Maybe that's maybe quite a. But I was like, brilliant! What a great routine.
But I kind of love that because it's so interesting, and Ken, you could probably speak to this a little bit as well. When you look at like AJ Brown, they had this whole conversation around his like book that he was reading on the sideline and how much he was doing with that. But actually, when it comes to that thought about preparation, he's in a really unique position. You're on a team that is flipped in terms of it runs the ball more than it passes the ball. And so when you're there as that receiver, you know that when your time comes, you've got to be able to just perform and deliver. Yeah. And so whatever he is doing to keep him locked in, because 9 out of 10 times you're probably blocking in some capacity or just running a false route. Well, actually, when that moment comes, you've got to be able to make those contested catches, which he's so phenomenal with, and he did that in the Super Bowl. But you could probably speak to that as a, even in flag, like playing
as an elite receiver, like AJ Brown. Is that what we're hearing?
Yeah. I don't know about them getting contested catches.
I know. But... wow. No, as a lifelong card-carrying member of Team Wing It, preparation is not really. No, but it's really interesting because I've often, true story, like when I play tackle, when I play flag, Adele is funny. Some of my old teammates will know, I listen to like Disney classics before a game, whatever is favorite.
We'll circle back.
Yeah. I mean, there's too many. Under the Sea. Yeah.
We're talking like
Mulan. Yeah, Disney. Like, I'm talking. As in from the movie. I don't want any fake versions either of people think. Nice. But it's. I think you have some players and coaches indeed who like are more. They need that kind of rock or rap or like heavy, hard hitting, and then other people need to mellow out a bit, like just a bit more chilled, a bit. Classical music was up there as well at one point, because my style of play and the way I love to teach playing flag tackle is more flowing through the game rather than as impactful as the game is. It's being able to be in a flow state and achieving that flow state as you go. And then I was watching a film called Warrior. Tom Hardy, I don't know the other guy's name, but it's all about UFC. And there's a bit where Tom Hardy's like older brother is training as a UFC fighter. I was like, artist? No. Player?
UFC artist.
Yeah. But they're training to classical music, and that coach is teaching them to train in all the grapples and all the striking.
All the flow.
But it's all through with classical music playing, saying like, remember to breathe, remember to focus, like you're not just be in the moment, so which is really a really cool thing.
It's so interesting because you say like the breathe bit. I find that so with GB I play center, and I find
flag, not tackle.
No. This is what the flag. What the
Sorry,
flag?
focusing, locking. You're both like tackle, but sorry.
No,
But
we'll
yes.
But so I play center and flag, and so when Britt, my quarterback, goes through the cadence, whatever that may be, like ready, set, hut, whatever, I use that as like my moment of breathing. So like you get down in position, and then she kind of like says her cadence, and I take this like deep breath in, and it like blocks out all the noise. I'm like, all right, blitz is located here. I know what my route is. I know what everyone else's route is. I'm kind of in that position where I'm like thinking, and then as she says hut, like I breathe out, and that's kind of like how my flow mindfulness kind of preparation works, at least in that.
I think it would be super dope to mic you up like for a game and actually hear.
And it's just let's not do that. I don't make weird noises, just like weird breathing. But it is because you have to like you're also catching your breath from the last play. Like flag's so great like that because it's so fun, it's so explosive and fast. But then you're like, okay, we got to get right back into this position. I got this. Do you think then? So obviously you prepare as a tackle player. Would you change what you do preparation-wise from tackle to how you're playing flag?
Probably. I think the strain on your body is completely different. I think with tackle, it's so much more physical. So you'll be running, but it's a lot more impact on your body physically. Like people are literally pushing you. So I guess with flag, for me, it would just be like, I've run 10 meters at full speed, now I'm getting just give me a second, hands on hips, sort of like stroll back. But I think, I don't know, I think it would be a case by case in terms of preparation. I think.
So what would you say your prep is for tackle? And more game day then. I know like probably the gym workup would be different, but on a game day, tackle game day, what's your preparation?
Depends on the stakes and depends on the team.
Oh, high stakes game, good opponent.
Why does it depend?
And your team.
Because I think it depends on the people you're around and who your unit is, and also how that team gets ready to play. I think when I play sort of like regional level, as a team, we're sort of notoriously known for listening to music really loudly, dancing around, you play for a number of different teams because I'm like, which team are we talking about? So about Warriors.
Okay, Warriors women.
So when I get ready with them, I feel that's notoriously what we do. We do it at training, we do it at games. So I feel it's kind of our ritual. So to get ready for a game, regardless of how high stakes it is, it's always just in my routine to prepare with them that way, listening to music we like, talking, making jokes, laughing.
Amazing.
For GB, I feel it changes slightly. I feel I have to be a little bit more serious. And maybe it's because there's been some games where I've obviously been in the captain role. So I feel like there has to be a level of sincerity, I guess. And, I guess. But then I feel I'm a lot more relaxed for that because I think the opponents that you may face internationally are a little bit more unpredictable. So I need to be in a state of mind where I can just think really quickly and my mind isn't necessarily crowded by, the lyrics of the song I just listened to or me just being like, la, 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 la. Whereas I feel sometimes regional there's only a certain amount of ways you can play regional, especially at nines. I feel like there's only a certain amount of, looks that you're going to see, fronts that you're going to see, players that you're going to see in those positions because we tend to sort of all see each other on that same circle. Whereas when you go international, you don't always know what your opposition is going to look like, how much they've changed, how they've recruited. Yeah. And I'm assuming it must be the same for you when you're preparing for flag. Like, I guess your opponents are a lot more unpredictable in that sense. You don't always know what you're going to be faced with.
Yeah, I guess the biggest thing I'd say difference between tackle and flag is flag, you're going to play multiple games in a day, 3, maybe 4 games in a day. So you've got to be able to adapt and adjust. But I think that's where, your kind of preparation changes slightly. It's interesting because I would still say as an individual, my preparation stays the same, whether I'm a tackle player or a flag player. Like how I literally warm up for a game is all going to be the same for me. But the kind of explosive nature of flag, you almost think, well, we're going to have kind of similar plays. Maybe we don't show them all. Like, all right, we know we've got this big playbook. So now we're going to look at this bit and then maybe, like, especially when we're looking at a tournament, we probably are only going to show you a pretty basic playbook the first couple of games, and then we move on. We start adding in some wrinkles, doing things like that. But you think from tackle, because you're like, this is our one game. Like, we only have this one game to be able to really leave it out there.
Yeah.
And there's probably just not as much good film, at least in the UK and Europe, as we might have in other situations. Anyone can set up a camera or GoPro or whatever and film a flag game. Do you get time to review?
So what I'm hearing, and is to kind of bring it to you as well, like what I'm hearing from what you're saying is it depends on the culture of the team that you're in terms of kind of how you prepare. And should culture play such a big role in, because I know some people, like, they just have to get into game mode. So it's a very individual, it's a very personal thing. Whereas you're saying, depending on the team's culture, because I would also love to know how that works when you play with hearts, or, but ultimately you're still you in those situations, right? So does that affect how you warm up? Does that make sense? Like, in terms of the culture of the team that you're with, or your position in the team.
Yeah.
You mentioned about captains or not.
I would say it's a mixture of culture and expectations.
Whose expectations?
It depends. I think GB. I think the expectations of, like, how you should behave as a player and how you should represent the team, I think is sometimes different to when you play regionally. I think when you're on an international stage, the perception of you as a player and how you carry yourself and what you do and how you play, and it might not be the case, but in my mind, I feel like it should be played with a certain level of sincerity. And I guess maybe the fun aspect of it, although I always enjoy the game, I feel that at a regional level, because it's a little bit more relaxed in terms of who you're with and how long you've known everyone and the relationships you build, I feel there's that element where you can just sort of be a little bit more
playful.
Yeah, and you have a bit more space and capacity to just sort of do whatever you would like to do.
Hearing GB formal, regional informal. Is that?
Well, I think the interesting thing about this is, from a flag perspective, kind of to your point, flags historically not really had as many coaches. It's just kind of been like people show up and play. So people's preparation is only what they know. Yeah. So you may never have been taught how to prepare for a flag. And I think that's something that's kind of changing. And I guess that comes with the culture, because technically GB, you have higher level coaches. So therefore the expectations, the preparation, the culture is all set. When you're part of a regional team or domestic team with flag, you're just kind of showing up, and you might have a couple people who have those leadership skills that will essentially steer you the right way. Absolutely.
And that, I think that's just the nature of the infancy of flag, up to this point, because people have had to find their own way. So I think we still have there are certain players I know who will be like, I have to, even as we might play 2 or 3 games on a daily basis, they have to practice, they have to prepare for each game the same exact way every time, because that's how their flip gets switch their flip their switch into game mode, and then there are others who I would love to say now that, because of where I feel I'm at, especially with experience in and around flag football, I'm able to just more be focused on other people and making sure that my teammates, those I'm coaching, whichever way, making sure they're ready, making sure they're prepared, and I can then just go with the flow, depending on, and be whatever's needed for the team.
I can see that. I guess the biggest thing would also be, I think, as you get older, not that any of us are there. We gotta that warm up time takes so much longer.
It's only flag. No, I'm joking.
Recovery, all of that. Just
absolutely.
Everything takes so much longer. And so for sure, there's always helping each other out. But it's like, dang, I got to make sure that I'm prepared physically. Mentally, a lot of us have done this long enough. You can probably find a way to switch on. But physically, I got to make sure everything's warmed up. But
super quick caveat. I said it's only flag just then. It's a misnomer. Flag should be, you have to take it because you do so much more running. And I would argue movement.
Exactly.
Know yourself. Warm up properly, please.
It's not all about flow, like Kenny said.
Exactly. Animal flow. We got it going on here. Oh, man. Well, guys, thank you. I loved hearing about preparation and how we can all kind of steal from each other a little bit in that area. And for everyone at home, make sure to comment, click the bell. Get it done. Our girl, says do it. And we will see you next time on What the Flag.